What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome back to the weekly Q&A show, where we share some news, some stats, the occasional business maxim, and of course, we're here to answer your questions. And I am using the royal we. So, you got a question about retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale, or perhaps just a Keepa quandary? Well, drop it in the chat and we'll make sure to help. Uh, for those of you who are new here, I'm Chris Grant. Normally, to my right is my primogenial co-host, Chris Rasick. He may be in a little bit later. He is at a football game with his son, and he might make it. He may not. We'll see how it goes. But you got me, and hopefully, I will be able to take care of you today. All right, so we've got a ton. Good to see you guys. Hey, Karen. Hey, Polly. Great to see you guys. Hey, Kevin, Crystal, EB. What's going on? Glad everyone's getting so chatty. Hopefully, we keep it up. We've got a little bit of news, and of course, I want to answer your questions, whatever you may have, and I will make sure to get to those. The very first thing is Amazon's got Prime big deal days coming up. If you haven't seen that already, I would imagine you probably have, but Amazon's Prime big deal days are back October 7th and 8th. So in just, what is that? About 2 weeks from now. This is going to be Amazon's opening salvo into the holiday shopping season. And you may remember from the other week, I mentioned the October to January sales window is expected to do more than $1 trillion. That is with a T, $1 trillion dollars in total commerce. Now, that is across retail stores and online commerce. And of course, Amazon wants to capture as much of that as they possibly can. As always, there are going to be millions of deals across every major category with early access for Prime members. Amazon says they're going to be pushing this hard. They're going to be pushing hard on their shopping assistant, Rufus, their AI shopping assistant, Rufus, visual search tools, and apparently some of their ads are really going to be touting the same day delivery in 140 plus metro areas. This is one of the first, or they've expanded Prime Deal Days, Big Prime Deal Days, whatever it's called, Amazon Prime Big Deal Days, into 18 countries now. So they've added Colombia, Ireland, and Mexico for the first time. Amazon is positioning this as the ultimate holiday headquarters where customers can, quote, complete all their seasonal preparations in one convenient stop. It really seems like they're trying to own as much of every single dollar as they possibly can this holiday shopping season. And they're using October to try to train customers to start their holiday shopping early and shop exclusively with Amazon. This event is going to feature deals from, of course, major brands like Lego, Samsung, LG, Sonos, and Amazon exclusives from Lancome. And like I said, they're going to be pushing the Amazon Day delivery service really hard to try to combine the number of packages that go to customers. Now, why does this matter? Well, there is a two-pronged reason that this should matter to you. First is the fact that there will be massive competing sales across hundreds, if not thousands, of other retailers. There's going to be a ton of sales for you to take advantage of. This will allow you to shop deals that you can sell for a profit closer to the holidays. There are also going to be a massive amount of deals on Amazon that will not require you to have a Prime membership, which should allow for plenty of Amazon to Amazon flip opportunities as Amazon matches prices on products they have to other retailers that are out there. Matter of fact, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you should. I retweeted a really under the radar method to be able to gather more product from Steve French, friend of the show. And I had some people say, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Why is this even helpful? If you go read it, you'll understand. Um, yeah, I always forget Rufus exists all the time. Um, Second, there are going to be a lot more eyeballs on Amazon over this particular sales holiday, even though it seems like the consumer may be getting a little bit sale blind or a little sale fatigued. As we move into what feels like a bit of a softer market, at least if you read every single headline that's out there, people are going to be looking for deals. And this is their opportunities, and it will be yours. You should see increased sales across your catalog, but you should also take this as an opportunity to offload some older inventory, whether that is discounts, maybe a few extra dollars in your catch-all ad spend, and this should allow you to free up both some space and some capital as we move deeper into Q4. Honestly, and last year this was a big sale. It was a big sale. I think the year before that, I think that's when it started, was 2 or 3 years ago. Like, it's just a win-win situation. Getting more people on the platform is just going to be a good thing. Uh, Now, is this going to be as big as last year? Who knows? It's kind of hard to say. Oh no, this one's not going to be as big. So should be interesting. All right. Now, another piece of news that I found interesting is Amazon has announced that they're rolling out agentic AI across their entire seller platform. So think of it kind of like Chat GPT for sellers, but it can actually do stuff, not just tell you about stuff. So this thing should be, if they did it right, should be helpful. Their seller assistant is capable of running 24/7. It can monitor your inventory. They say it's going to be able to flag compliance issues, optimize FBA shipments, and even create ads for those who may have private label products and things like that. There's one seller from ASM Games says it's like having a personal business consultant that he uses daily. Another seller used the new creative studio and said they saw a 338% increase in click-through rates and 121% return on ad spend over Father's Day. Now, these are not necessarily things that you're going to use it for, as those are both private label sellers. However, I think there are going to be some ways to use it in your arbitrage business. The new tool is going to include AI that predicts when you'll get hit with long term storage fees before they happen, automated compliance checking. So, hopefully, no more surprise suspensions if you use this thing regularly. And then one of the things that I found or I thought was really interesting is the Opportunity Explorer. Now, we already have the Opportunity Explorer inside of Seller Central, and I've made videos about how to use it. And it's something that analyzes billions of customer searches and tells you exactly what products are being searched for and what products have demand, but either not enough inventory or no inventory at all. This is going to be rolling out to all US sellers right now, and it's going to be coming to other countries in some coming months. And of course, the cost is going to be free. All right. Now, why does this matter? Okay. If they've built this right, it could be incredibly helpful to those of you doing arbitrage, especially those who learn how to use it correctly. Monitor inventory levels and ask if there's anything that needs to be replenished or anything that's coming up with long term storage fees soon. Check on your sell through rates. Check on your sell through rates at the ASIN level. Know when it's time to liquidate by asking natural language questions. Okay. See where you may have some compliance deficiencies, that you can hopefully get fixed and keep you from being suspended, and hopefully find them before Amazon does. The Opportunity Explorer upgrade is sort of like Amazon handing you some of their internal data. Now, to a point, of course, they're not going to say, hey, this is exactly how many searches this particular search term gets. But they're going to let you know this kind of stuff and what customers are not able to find that you may be able to bring to the catalog or reintroduce back into the catalog. Okay. Actually, I didn't use the AI for this, but I was out shopping with my wife the other day and I happened to come across something that has not been on Amazon in like 3 months. And I was able to bring it back at a price that is profitable. Like those are some of the best things to be on while you can, okay, without any other competition. They're literally going to tell us where some white space is, okay? Um, or it's like having Amazon category managers whisper sweet nothings in your ear, without being weird. Anyway, in my opinion, this is something that will further separate those who treat this like a real business, those who are professional sellers and real entrepreneurs, from those who are treating this like an amateur side business. Okay. Some sellers are going to build this into their processes to help them uncover insights, see where the puck might be going, make sure their account health stays tip top, find out how they may be able to spend less money on ads and get more from their ad dollars. And yes, even those RA and OA sellers who might use a catch-all strategy, this may be a leg up to the pro sellers who use this on a regular basis. Of course, that is if Amazon built this correctly. I'm hoping that they did. Okay. Uh, that was weird. I know. Being able to take the data and insights that AI can give you and combine them with the fundamentals of running a good business on Amazon may just be able to help the serious sellers grow larger and more profitable than in the past and do it with less employees. So, if I were you, and something that I'm trying to get better at every single day, is I think it's time that everyone learns how to properly prompt AI. This is going to be through trial and error. What kinds of questions might you want to know about your business? You may even want to use another AI to say, hey, listen, act as a business consultant and help me figure out what questions I should be asking about my Amazon business, and lay out everything that you do and come up with a list of questions. Okay. Um, and then you also need to learn how to prompt it appropriately so that it can give you structured data in a way that is helpful to you. Okay. I have used the AI before they have rolled out this newest version, and it gave me some good information. And as they give it more and more data and allow it to access more and more of your reports and allow you to ask it very personalized questions, this could be incredibly helpful. I really think it's gonna help a lot of people. All right, and yeah, Luke, I'm sorry. That was weird. I was trying to make a good joke, and that fell flat. I apologize. All right. um, for those of you who may be new here, we talk about this just about every time. And I actually got something, or I saw something a little bit earlier today that said, um, hey, late to the early morning discussion. I have to say, one thing that sets this group apart from the others I have been in is how incredibly active it is and how vast the dialogue is that I can actually learn from. Hope you enjoy your Sunday. And what I'm talking about is the OAC Plus. The OAC Plus is a community that we are building, and it's getting better by the day. Matter of fact, we just added a sort of a book club where we're going to be talking about books. We're going to be discussing books. We're going to be possibly doing some reading together. But anyway, the OAC group just continues to get better and better. And my goal is to make it the best Amazon community in the space. Uh, if you join, or if you're already joined, you get a bunch of things. Number one, we have a dedicated channel for Amazon to Amazon flips. It was built solely to hopefully make you money. All right. So that you can essentially be an OAC Plus for free. You also get access to Storefront Stalker Pro, absolutely free. Another way for you to be able to make money in your Amazon business by using Storefront Stalker Pro. And on Monday nights, Chris shows you how to use it. Chris Rasick, my co-host, shows you how to use it every single week, answers questions, and has even done some calls with people to make sure that they know how to use it. On top of that, on top of those two things, we've got over $3,000 in worth of education in the course vault. And that is not something that I am just saying, oh, well, it's just, it's $3,000 of perceived value. No, that's what we actually sell it for and sell it on a regular basis standalone. Like I talked about, you do live over the shoulder sourcing sessions with Chris every single week. We do live coaching calls every single Thursday at noon. We've got an incredibly active community inside of Discord that just about 24 hours a day, you can go in and ask a question and have someone to chat with or answer you, or we'll get to it very quickly. You also get free entry into every future OA challenge, and we'll do them live about once a quarter, maybe 3 times a year, but you get free entry into every single one of those. And if things go sideways, well, we've got suspension support. I will literally write POAs for you. I will walk you through any suspension processes. We've had 4 or 5 people have to go through some sort of suspension over the past month and a half since we've been started, and everyone has gotten back so far. So shooting 100% so far. We've also got special guest interviews that we do with people that we won't release publicly. Matter of fact, I'm working on getting someone to come in who has taken the profits from their Amazon business and they've started a kind of a sweaty side hustle in their local area. And we're going to talk about that because I think that honestly, it's great. I think that Amazon is fantastic. I think the future is bright. However, I am all about being able to make a difference in your local community as well by being able to hire people for these local kinds of jobs, and we're going to learn how to do that as well. All right. So we'd love to have you. If you are interested in learning more, head over to oachallenge.com/plus. That's oachallenge.com/plus. That link should be down in the video description. We'd love to have you in the community. If you're looking for a place to hang your hat and call home, we will welcome you with open arms. All right. Now, I was hoping that Chris would be here by now, but I totally get it. I get how the traffic goes. This last piece of news is huge. All right. CNBC this past week dropped what looks to be like a nuclear investigation on Walmart. Even sort of reads like a crime thriller. All right. And it's not just about fake products and counterfeit products. It's about how Walmart systematically dismantled every safety guardrail that they had in place or started having in place to steal market share from Amazon and the bad sellers who were able to take advantage of this. Because that, I'll tell you what, the enemy is not the marketplaces. The enemy really is the bad seller. That is who we should be upset with in a lot of cases. Amazon makes a change. They gate a particular brand. They make ungating more difficult. They impose Section 3s. It's not, I can't really blame Amazon. I blame the bad sellers. Now, we could take that back and say, hey, you know what? It is the marketplace's fault for allowing those sellers on in the first place. I get that. All right. So first, let's talk about this article. All right. This article first addresses the growth explosion that Walmart had. Walmart marketplace sellers. I can read your questions. Yep, absolutely. And we will get to those here as soon as we're done with the news. I promise. Walmart marketplace sellers grew 900% between 2019 and 2024. The Walmart marketplace also had 45% growth in fiscal year 2024 and 37% growth in fiscal year 2025. Their product catalog also exploded to 700 million items. It was a 67% jump from May alone. Their market position didn't change. They're second only to Amazon. Well, that's not true. There were marketplaces that were larger like eBay, but they grew to second only to Amazon, approaching $100 billion in annual revenue from the marketplace alone. All right. And they were on pace for 10% of all US online sales by the end of 2026. With that scaling came the fraud. CNBC identified 43 sellers using stolen business identities. 100% of the tested products from fake sellers were counterfeit. That was 20 out of 20 products. Fraudulent sellers included fake accounts from Thermo Fisher Scientific, Rockwell Medical, D. Agostino grocery stores, and Dimo's Pizza. There's also some price manipulation. People were selling luxury products discounted up to 91% off retail. I'd love to be able to sell retail products that cheap, but there's no way to do it unless you're getting them for free. There's also review manipulation. Sol de Janeiro cream had 4.6 out of 5 stars overall, even though 48% of verified purchaser reviews were 1 star, with 90% of those 1-star reviews claiming they were fake products. One particular whistleblower named Tammy actually worked for Walmart seller vetting from September of 2023 to April of 2024, and she spilled the tea. All right. She said it got to a point where they were just like, you know what? Just go ahead and approve everybody. They wanted that business, so they were willing to take a chance on it. Jones also revealed that there was systematic dismantling of safety protocols. In the early days, Walmart required inventory examination, phone verification, and business history checks. Kind of in the middle period, they eliminated the phone calls. They ignored business age requirements. And then in the third phase, from 2023 to 2024, they just verified phone, address, and EIN, and they just approved basically everything else. What's up, man? Everyone was missing
you. What's happening?
Oh, shoot. Thanks. Hold on 1 second. I am having some trouble with my headphones.
Thanks for holding down the fort.
There we go. Let me see if I can get these to work. All right. Let's try that again. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I would be better if we had brought home the win, but it was a good time.
I hear you. Well, good. I'm glad you guys had a great time. We'll get to that here in just a minute. Holy man, everyone's more excited now that you're here. That's all right. I'm going to get back to this news piece, and then we'll talk about where Chris was. Steve Grigory, who was head of business development at Walmart from 2016 to 2019, talked about how strict the place used to be. The trust and safety team rejected Dell of all companies because they weren't good enough. And he was like, what the hell are you talking about? It's Dell. And then Walmart made a decision, and there was kind of this pivot that people noticed, and it was the Nike pivot is what it was. It's kind of the moment that Walmart chose growth over safety. Originally, only Fanatics could sell Nike. Fanatics, the company, not, just fans, but the company. And they were generating hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sales. And then they opened Nike to all sellers because they projected millions in revenue. And the rationale was there's a lot of money to be made in the gray market. If we're going to make millions in sales on these Nike products, the percentage of counterfeit from that is probably small enough that it's a net positive for us doing this, even if we have to play whack-a-mole or refund some customers. End quote. And then they had the Chinese seller flood. In 2021, that marked the turning point when Walmart opened to Chinese sellers for the first time, leading to a 58% vendor growth that year alone. And this all kind of came at a really good time for Walmart because Amazon sort of came out with a bit of an iron fist. Like they had video interviews with Amazon employees to open up new accounts. You had to show government IDs on camera. You had to show proof of your address. You had to have more strict invoices to get ungated. You had to show them bank and credit card statement verification. Target also is kind of the same way. Like they are an invite only marketplace, and they require a U.S. business address. And then Walmart went the other direction for a while. No video interview, driver's license or passport only, EIN number only. The W-9 became optional in March of 2025. And to get ungated, you often just needed one unit, to get ungated. And it could be a receipt, didn't have to be an invoice, could be a receipt, could be a retail receipt, whatever. All right. And so, of course, CNBC went out and they found customers of Walmart who had trouble. And this lady, Mary, this 59-year-old woman from Tennessee, bought herself 8 bottles of a Nariva brain supplement. Noticed that there were misspellings and different packaging across the different items that she purchased, and they were later confirmed to be counterfeit. Now, she was maybe a little, I can't think of the word, but she said, Walmart betrayed me. And then, of course, there were other things that happened. There is Elaine, owner of a legitimate business, LifeWorks ACS, and she received returns from 14 or more customers who bought counterfeits from sellers impersonating her company. She sent all of those returns to CNBC, and of course, every single one of them was counterfeit. And this has caused a ton of customer confusion. Now, why does this matter? Well, this matters because now we're seeing the Walmart marketplace go in the completely opposite direction. They now have enhanced vetting programs for beauty and personal care. Invoice requirements mean you must prove direct sourcing from the brand owner or manufacturer. Sometimes you need letter of authorizations. They've done mass delisting of beauty and personal care products. They've had thousands of listings removed overnight. Sellers have been scrambling. Like, it's crazy, and there's a ton of revenue at risk here. Like we said earlier, Walmart's marketplace was approaching $100 billion in annual sales. A bunch of sellers built businesses on the fact that they thought they were going to be able to count on these lax policies where Amazon was getting a little bit more strict. And are they going to be able to deal with this new compliance? Like the legitimate sellers, I could care less about the bad sellers, but what about the legitimate sellers? What are they going to do to get through this? It's crazy. I don't know like what the long-term play on this is, but the one thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about is what happened on Walmart wasn't an accident, wasn't oversight. It seemed to be calculated corporate strategy. Like, it seems like the Walmart executives knew what they were doing. They had the data on the number of sellers who were leaving Amazon because it was getting more difficult. They saw an opportunity to capture those displaced sellers, and they chose growth over safety. It's very, very interesting. And now, of course, they've got to go in the complete opposite direction. I don't know how they come back from this and sort of find a middle ground.
Yeah, this was, I don't know. Are there better examples of being caught with your pants down?
No.
This is, I mean, this is what an absolute bomb of a hit piece this article was. I mean, if you haven't read the article, you should. I mean, it is thorough. I mean, it's about as calculated a takedown as you could imagine.
Do you know Do you know how long? So the journalist name who put this out is Gabrielle. Do you know how long she investigated it for before she wrote that article?
I was trying to remember. I remember way back you mentioning that you had an interview with CNBC. And like when this came out, I was trying to remember how long ago that was. How long did she work on this piece?
She worked on this piece for a year.
Wow.
And to Luke's point, did Walmart know this was coming? Yeah, they did. Because she called tons of people at Walmart trying to get them to offer statements. And the only statement was, customer safety and trust is of paramount importance or something like that.
All right. So how do I do this tactfully? The interesting part of this, and especially reading through it and finding out just how egregious what they did really was. I find myself, especially recently, I find myself saying something along the lines of be mindful of your inputs, right? And it comes up in multiple different avenues, and I can't help but think, and this isn't really, I mean, maybe it's a veiled I told you so, but that's really not, I'm not getting as much satisfaction if it was a blatant I told you so. But it's not just rubbing anyone's nose in it. This is a good exercise if you went back, because people made definitive statements about their moves, pulling everything from Amazon and going to Walmart, right? And I'm not just talking about, Joe Blow in whatever social media group. I'm talking about established mentors, coaches. If you really go back and you think about the people that made quite convincing statements, there's a lesson here about minding your inputs, and really paying attention to what, there's, because and if you don't pay attention, if you weren't, if you didn't care, Amazon was dead. Walmart was the future, right? And we tried to take a measured view of it, and we've admitted before that we were starting to come around, that finally, for the first time, we could see a path to Amazon having a legitimate competitor.
And that would be a good thing.
It'd be, we didn't bemoan it. That would have been a good thing for both, whether you're, if you're moving over to Walmart or whether you're staying on Amazon. There's advantages. There's market share to be gained on both sides, the way things were moving. And people made some wild statements. And there's a lot of crow being eaten after this article comes out.
Yeah, and maybe deservedly so. And heck, I've even seen some people who went all in on Walmart and say, "Oh man, I forgot how easy it was to sell on Amazon."
Right.
It's and I don't necessarily want to rub anyone's nose in it. But I think this is, first of all, this is why everything needs to have a bit more of a nuanced approach, which I will pat ourselves on the back that we do tend to take a bit more of a nuanced approach. Luke, I'll make sure you get a copy of that article. I'll share it in OAC Plus. But I also see who doesn't read my weekly newsletter.
Put some salve on that, Luke.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious how this goes for Walmart. Like, are they swinging back so hard, to safety, and then are they going to come back to the middle eventually? Or, are they just going to be like, what? I guess maybe the marketplace can only be so big, and we are not going to be able to take on Amazon.
Well, I mean, if you make a blunder this bad, I mean, how do you come out of this unscathed?
Great question.
Amazon has legislation levied against them and whatnot. I mean, which is worse? Potential antitrust. I mean, Amazon. It almost doesn't seem fair that Amazon can be so dominant because they've been so revolutionary in e-commerce. I mean, they've revolutionized delivery. They've decimated the length of time that it takes to get orders delivered. I mean, we take it for granted just how incredible the advancements that Amazon has made shopping online. Any other marketplace that chooses to try to compete with Amazon owes a big debt of gratitude to the person that they're taking on, Amazon. So to be this negligent and get away with it, that's kind of hard to stomach. But and there's something to be said about, I mean, we're kind of in this phase where predictions are meaninless. Everybody's trying to make everybody's trying to have a tweet or have some sort of social media post that they can go back to in a few months and be like, see, I called it. And the problem is when enough people do that, predictions are meaninless because they're such a low hit percentage of correct ones. So, I think just, anytime I just kind of shy away from people who make like sweeping statements and like, no, this is the future. It's just kind of it's extremely played out by now, and it's not even just e-commerce. And talking about Walmart, you see it in crypto all the time, just almost implying that you're stupid if you don't see it the same way that I do, that X stupid stable coins going to the moon or something like that. It's
right.
It's a bizarre trend.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I see people getting impatient. We'll answer your guys' questions. So Rejeki, sorry if that's pronounced wrong, but can anyone create a branded listing for a brand not already on Amazon? No, not necessarily. You can create listings for some brands, but fewer and fewer and fewer brands can have listings created by sellers on Amazon who are not approved by the brand to create those listings. That was not always the case. It used to be I could just, if I found a product that wasn't on Amazon, I could just make a listing. It was great. Polly, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if she did a CNBC broadcast. It is a very long article. I will make sure to share it in the group.
I thought you did, right? Isn't it under e-commerce news in that channel?
Should be. Yeah, I did. I did share it on September 19th. Yep, it's there. Oh, Andre, Walmart rejected an authorized distributor invoice that worked with Amazon. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Jimmy, what was the commit this to memory tweet about? Well, that was a retweet from Steve French, friend of the show, friend of ours, absolute monster in the RA streets. And so I have a feeling that his tweet today may be a follow-up to his tweet from yesterday. And his tweet yesterday was at the soccer game, at my son's soccer game, opened up the phone, spent 62,000 back to the soccer game. What would have really made that tweet perfect is, spent 62,000. If he would have just put in the line, felt nothing. That would have just really set it off. And today he tweeted out something along the lines of, if you find a killer deal on a product and it's also on Amazon, which of course, would be, and I'm assuming that this means that it would need to be sold by Amazon as well. You can scroll down and report a problem with that listing and open up a case, and Amazon will very often price match the other site. Now, are they going to do this for things that third party sellers are selling? Unlikely. Are they going to do it for stuff they're selling? Yes, they probably will. Now, the question that I saw people ask is, well, why does that even matter? Okay, well, here's the thing. Let's say that you find an item on another website that's being sold for $37. It's on sale, it's got a coupon code, and it's something you've sold in the past, it's something you're replenishing, it's something you're willing to buy 500 of in one go. All right? But let's say you can only get 250. Well, why? And it's also being sold by Amazon. Let's just say it averages, I don't know, $85. Why would you not go to Amazon? And you're going to compete against them anyway. And maybe you need to sell for $83. You go to them and say, hey, I found this item for $37 over here. Here's the link to it. Will you price match? And maybe they don't have limits on how many you can buy, and you can buy another 250 or 300 at the same price because Amazon has just got a ton of them in stock. Well, are you going to do that? Yeah, absolutely. It's a way to be able to double dip. This works across tons of different places. It's very rare that I go into Best Buy and actually purchase something, an electronic need from Best Buy. But when I do, I always check to see what the price is on Amazon. And if Amazon's selling it, they will price match. I always do that there because they're always more expensive. But if I need it now, I do it.
I was going to say, Best Buy's never the lowest price.
Right. So that is the commit this to memory tweet, because it is an easy way to get more at a similar price or the same price. And I guarantee very, very few people are doing it, and very few people will actually take the time to do it, even though Steve tweeted it, I retweeted it, and now we're sharing it on a YouTube video. Jimmy, are you still extremely OA? What percent? Yeah, 99%. I was looking for a new business or finance book to read. Got any suggestions? Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, well, you know what, we just over the last few days, and actually last night officially, we have a book channel in the OAC Plus. We kind of popped the lid off of the book conversation in the general chat, so much so that we needed to have a dedicated book channel. So I've been kind of talking to people, and if you're not familiar, I had the absolute pleasure of helping introduce the Libby app to a couple of the members of OAC Plus, which makes me very, very happy because I absolutely love that app. And if you don't know what Libby is, look it up. It's a library app. Basically, you can use your library card or sign up for a library card. I did it sitting right here. I didn't go anywhere to get my county library membership library card. And you can borrow books, digital books, audio books. You can subscribe to magazines and have them automatically delivered to your Libby app. And you can read so much stuff for free until your heart's content. But anyway, as a result of that, I've kind of had a couple people that have asked me that question. So I kind of always start from the top. and I go over my all-time favorites to make sure that they have those covered. Like, here are my 5-star reads. Let me know what you haven't read out of these. So that's kind of a good exercise to start with. So I gave let me make sure I don't miss anything. I gave my top 6. And that's the way this works. I have a list of 6 books, and they're all in my top 3. The math works. Don't question me about it. But probably duking it out for the number 1 spot of favorite business book all time. Make sure you've read Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reread. Like, I will have 5 or 6 rereadings by the time my time on this earth is done. That's how much I like it. The Motivation Myth by Jeff Hayden. I absolutely loved it. I actually need to reread it to make sure that I like it as much as I say I do, and make sure it just wasn't a timing thing. But I'm pretty sure I absolutely loved it, and I quote it all the time. 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Berkman is an amazing journey. That book stayed with me for literally weeks afterwards. I couldn't get it out of my head. It affected me, and it starts at 4,000 weeks is roughly on average the amount of weeks that you'll be alive. So it kind of rattles your cage a little bit right in the beginning, because it talks about the finite nature of life. Like, you only have so much time. And then from there, he walks you through how to manage that time. And it is extremely powerful. How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the title push you off of it. It's a terrible title. Great book, though. Great book. When by Daniel Pink. When the Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing by Daniel Pink. That's an excellent book. Thank you, Jordan, for recommending that. And then Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. Those are my top 6. That's, if anybody asks where I should start, we make sure those 6 are covered. And if you got all those 6 down, then we can talk a whole lot more after that too.
Mm-hmm. I would add to that How to Fight a Hydra, which is a business allegory. So it's just a fun, short little read. But if you look past the allegory, there are some lessons there. I would add 80/20 Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. Excuse me. I would also Atomic Habits, of course, is an absolute must. I would think you should read the Go Giver as well. Who Not How. I would read The Psychology of Money and The Algebra of Wealth. The Psychology of Money is by Morgan Housel. The Algebra of Wealth is by Scott
Galloway.
Thank you. That's an excellent book. And just seeing what else is here. The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing is another. And these don't seem like business books, but I think there's a lot to them. You should grab every single book that Ryan Holiday has written on Stoicism. Every single one. All right, let's see here.
Luke just added 10 books to his Goodreads.
That's great. My Walmart application still in viewing state for 2 months and 1 week. That's crazy. Honestly, I don't even know if I would. I'm just taking everything. I've taken everything down. What repricer do you recommend for booksellers currently using Reprice It, not happy with it? Um, it would depend on what level you're at, like what level of sales that you're at. Um, yeah, I'll tell you what. Answer that question for me, Jalapali. Answer that question for me, and then I'll give you a recommendation. Rejecki, this brand isn't trademarked on Amazon, and I know their product will be hot come December, so I've stocked up on it. I know the listing is going to come up eventually, but I want to see if you had any experience with it. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, you can try and see if you can create a listing for it, but I have my doubts. Amazon has been sending me the competitive price emails a lot more. You should go into Amazon and turn those emails off. You can do that. Let's see. Thanks for answering, Chris, but isn't that as bad as a seller? Only good if you're a customer, right? Well, in this case, you are a customer. You're buying from Amazon. So it is good for you. And I'm not saying that Amazon's going to do this for your inventory. But as a seller, it shouldn't matter either, because if Amazon were to give a discount on your product, which they actually do on occasion, they end up paying for that discount. They don't make you pay for a discount that they give. But if you're buying from Amazon themselves, that's on them. I need to go to the library, because I have tried. I see, everyone's like, I love the Libby app, and I had it too, but the library here locally keeps denying my online application for a library card. I got my wife one immediately, but not for that daggone $10 that I probably still owe to the Columbus Public Library is haunting me.
I was gonna say you got to overdue books, or we're gonna find out years later that you were in witness protection this whole time.
Right. Jimmy, Miles has a criteria for a product: 200K BSR or less, 30% ROI, stable price or increasing. What would yours be for Keepa price tracker to find OA products? See, that the problem is, if I go into Keepa product finder, there's so many ways to parse that data that that's a difficult answer to question, or difficult question to answer. Sorry. So I would go out, and I have some Keepa videos out there. You should be able to find a video on what I like to call the corridor strategy. You can also search my Twitter, and I have a thread on this. I have actually like 37 or 40 threads on how to use Keepa to find products. So rather than answer you here, I would suggest you go over there and search my Twitter account for Keepa. There's going to be a ton of opportunity for you if you follow some of those threads.
Yeah, and that criteria that Jimmy puts up there, I mean, that's kind of like a base set of filters. Yeah, I would say, because you can take that as your starting point, and then probably launch hundreds of different searches. You could probably do hundreds of different searches where you're pulling back thousands of ASINs each time, depending on how you kind of splice it from there. Whether you go by category, whether you go decrease in seller count, whether you go 50 plus, 100 plus sold over the last 30-day badge, whether you go by category, I mean, you can splice it so many different ways.
Yeah. And Jimmy, I see you asking, can you give me just some rough filters? I don't want to do that, because it's not going to be helpful to you. Open up Twitter, go to my Twitter account, and type in quotation KPF end quotation. And you're gonna see like literally some filters that you could use, and they will work right now. And you'll probably find profitable products with some of those. It'll take you 5 minutes worth of work. I promise it'll be worth it.
Well, yeah, all right. So I got a question. I'm gonna jump the line. The absolute fastest. If I put a stopwatch and I said I need you to find profitable inventory right now on an ASIN, what method do you use?
I would look for products on Keepa that are within probably like 50,000 to 300,000 in sales rank, and have a corridor of 50 to 300,000 over the 30 and 90 days. I'd also make sure that the sales rank hasn't really gone up or down very much. I would also choose like maybe $45 to $65 in buy box price. Make sure to do that over 30 and 90 days as well. Make sure that the 30-day drop is like negative 50 to a 10%. That way I get the upside and very little downside. I'd look for things that have 3 or more average sellers over the past 90 days. However, over the last 90 days, they don't have big upswings in the number of sellers. And then that would probably end up being too many. So I'd probably then filter down to like one category, easy category. Well, for me, not for everybody, but for me, it's going to be like beauty. So I'd probably go to the beauty category or the health and personal care category. And there's sales in those categories everywhere. So that would probably be the fastest way to find a profitable product right now.
Okay. We didn't actually race, but by the way, I smoked you because I'm going straight to Storefront Stalker Pro.
Oh,
I mean, I just whooped you. Like I'm counting my money, and you're still setting Keepa filters.
That's true. That's true. But I keep that KPF bookmarked.
All right. Well, all right. Maybe it was closer.
All right. Jimmy, don't call me Mr. Grant. That is my father. That is Mr. Grant. I am just Chris. I'm a common man. I get my hands dirty every day. Have you seen the new catalog authorization that Amazon asks? I don't think I have. But if you want to DM it to me or you want to email it to me, I'll take a look at it. Be happy to.
I did. I took a picture. I'll have to send it to you of luxury apartments up in Cleveland that are called The Grant.
Oh, nice.
Yes. They look very nice.
All right. So Luke's got an answer here. My 1 year of used books, I used Reprice It, the repricer that shall stay unnamed, and Profit Protector Pro. I like Profit Protector Pro the most of the three.
Wow.
And Jalapali, you said 6,500 in books in inventory, selling about 35 a day. That is solid.
Good for you.
I'm going to guess, let's see, 35 times 30 is about 1,000 books a month. Let's just say you got an average selling price of $20. That's 21,000 in monthly sales. At that rate, I would probably send you to Aura. Goaura.com. I've got an affiliate link somewhere that'll give you like 45-day free trial if you want. They will price used against used, and that's probably where I would go. I'd probably not use the AI. I would probably set my own rules, but that's probably where I would go. Ezra, this is a big question, man. How do you start? I currently have a marketing
all the
agency,
questions,
right? Where I run ads for brands and businesses, but I want to expand into something else when I'm not as busy. So here is what I would suggest. Okay. I am of the opinion that there is no such thing as a bad question. However, there is such a thing as a question that is too broad. So, what I would suggest for you is that you go to sell.amazon.com and you go through Amazon Seller University and you get that done in no more than 3 days. Okay. 3 days. That takes you to Wednesday. Now, on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m., you show back up here, and whatever you're confused on, you ask a specific question about that, and then we'll give you a much better answer, and it will take you to the next step, and we'll give you the next step. That's the very first thing to do. That's the first thing you should start with. Sleekiest, is there another option to ship merchant fulfilled orders other than Amazon and Amazon partners? So you're talking buying through Amazon Seller Central and, of course, buying through Vico. There are other options. Yes, you could use ShipStation. You could use Pirate Ship or some others. However, you are going to lose some of the protections that are offered buying through Amazon. And so, unless you are absolutely forced to or willing to, eat the losses on some returns, then I would stick with the Amazon options personally. And do not buy any shipping labels from anybody on Discord or anybody that requires Bitcoin or anybody that invites you to a Telegram group. Captain Awesome. Appreciate that. Keepa Academy was a game changer, and Keepa Academy is inside OAC Plus for anybody who joins. You can get Keepa Academy, OA Challenge, Wholesale Challenge. We credit card points and miles challenge. I need to get up the Keepa SOPs in there as well. And we've got Amazon influencer stuff, like a lot of courses inside of OAC Plus that you can have just for joining.
Those Keepa SOPs, speaking of that question that Jimmy asked, like, he would have a lot of fun with the Keepa SOPs. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Kind of pick one that sounds good, run it, yeah, and then just try a bunch of them out. Like, those things are awesome.
When you put the parameter of the BSR, do you exclude certain categories? It depends on how many results there are, JP. If there are too many results, then I will go down into a particular category. But I'm not. And I think you're asking, what about the categories that don't have, that I couldn't go to 300,000 in sales rank in? Like, I would not sell 300,000 in pet supplies, of course. So am I going to exclude those? No, I'm not going to. I'm always going to be looking at the Keepa chart before I make a purchase and make sure that there is sales velocity. So I don't necessarily need to exclude any particular category.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Reminds me, like I feel it sucks that I have to preempt this, right? Anything I'm about to say is not under the implication that I ever thought Keepa drops equals sales, right? Like, make sure the table's set for everybody here. However, that said, I liked Keepa drops because we knew exactly how they were calculated, right? It was one of the few things that we knew exactly. We could reverse engineer it, and Keepa told us exactly how they made it. So it was a metric with a level of accuracy that we could learn how it relates to sales volume, right? It doesn't equal sales volume, but we could use it in concert with the other sales data, because Amazon doesn't tell us how much stuff sells, right? Keepa drops are insane now, right? I mean, just nothing makes sense. I mean, just stuff like I'm seeing toys rank 250,000, and both RevSeller and Keepa are telling me that it's 20 plus drops per month, and that's not what that used to be. So it becomes less and less reliable as time goes on. So I'm wondering. My first thought was, as a replacement, what do you think about using and kind of fine tuning and learning the percentages of that category's rank? Because I use RevSeller, so even at the top, it'll tell me what the current rank is, and then it always has a number, and it tells me what percentage of that category. So that was my first thought. So my question to you is, how is top 1% across categories? How much variance is there between top 1% in beauty versus top 1% in pets versus top 1% in tools, et cetera, et cetera?
How much variance is there in like sales velocity?
Yeah. How close to a blanket metric do you think that would be?
That's a tough one. So here's my thought is it probably could not be used as a blanket metric. I'll tell you what, let's do some digging in real time here. Let me find out what the top 1% is in two particular categories. Need the category tree. Okay, so in pet supplies, where are you? Pet supplies, here we are. In pet supplies, the top 1% is 74,982. Very close. But in clothing, shoes, and jewelry, I'm picking something that's very, very large. Okay. That is 2,478,959. Now, in the pet supply category, in the top 1%, I would very likely be a buy across the entire top 1%. And probably going into the top, let me see here. I would imagine the top 2% is probably going to be like the high side of my cutoff in pet supplies. That'd be 149,000. But in clothing and shoes, I'm probably not going to get anywhere near that top 1% number. My guess is I'm probably gonna stop at somewhere around 1 or maybe 1.5 million in sales rank, and that is with a big if attached to it. And that big if is there is like basically no other competition on that particular listing, and evidence that maybe it is just overpriced at the moment, and I can bring it back in stock at a price that the market will bear.
Okay, but that said, if you go to 1.5 million, you're still sourcing within the top 0.75% of the category.
Correct. Yes.
And it's really, and it sounds like if you use the actual numbers, 1.5 million, it sounds different that, you're actually closer to that top 1% than I think you realize by using the actual number.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, but I don't know. It doesn't push me off my thought because you could tweak it. And I only say that because we used everybody seemed to have their top line. Like it was Jimmy even mentioned top 200,000 or whatever that was. And it's like grocery was you want to stay under 100,000. Same with toys. Toys was most of the time you heard stay under 100,000 with toys. Yeah, I just wonder if there's a little more fine tune, that kind of like a hybrid between, setting a nice round number in a category, uh, and replacing Keepa drops at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy, I promise we'll get there, man. We're almost there. Let's see here. Sleekiest, what is your suggestion for someone who wants to start with $20,000? Well, don't go spending that all on, just 2 or 3 SKUs. Number one. Um, my opinion would be, don't spend all of that $20,000. Maybe take 10% of it and test the waters. Okay. Take some really small bets. That way you can figure out how it works, how the process goes, how your decision making is, how well you can read Keepa, and then start going bigger over time. That is what I would suggest. All right. So Jimmy, listing approval for brand. This is a seller approval application for a particular brand. The brand is limited for listings to sellers officially affiliated with the brand. Sellers that want to create ASINs, variations, or update this brand name must apply here. Please review the ASIN creation policy for more information. So yeah, I mean, this is just Amazon stating that you can't mess around. I mean, this is something that's been known for a while. That you can't really update listings. You can't really create listings for a lot of brands unless you have approval from the brand. I just haven't seen it written out in words like this. Sorry, guys. Let me see here. Jalapali, how do I turn off global sales? This is something that I would certainly suggest that you do, but I cannot walk you through the process. Um, if you are in FBA today, and Luke, I don't know if you have posted this on Twitter or not, but if you're in the Facebook group FBA today, Luke has written out a very nice SOP on how to turn off global sales, and you're going to want that. I don't have a link handy. I can't send you directly there, and I don't know if Luke has posted it on Twitter or if he has a link. But if he does, he's more than welcome to share that.
Yeah, because there's two different methods, and the one, if you search for it, the one method you find is the one that doesn't work. Even though it's the most common one that's sitting around there, and it was actually Luke's method. I tried over and over. I actually got to the point where I had such trouble trying to turn off my global sales that my account health in Canada was putting my main US account at risk, because I had stuff in Canada, and I actually had to go and like manually delete everything in Canada every time I made a shipment. And if I didn't remember to do that, chances are, for some reason, like even Band-Aids require a prescription in Canada or something like that. The rules are just completely different, and I was getting dinged on all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it was Luke that finally got me squared away.
Yeah. Deal Hunter, I use Keepa charts to evaluate a product. I keep hearing about drops that I have no idea what that refers to. Could you please explain? So it is a measurement of the average number of times that the sales rank drops that Keepa records. And it is the average number of times per month the sales rank drops on Amazon for that particular item, and that average is recorded over the past 90 days. That's how it works. Let's see here. All right. I think we got through them there, guys. If you have any other questions, let me know. We'll stay around for maybe about 5 more minutes, and then we'll hang it up. But Chris, I'm curious to know, how was I know you guys didn't win, but how was the game? How was the experience? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was a really good time. Yeah, I haven't been to that new stadium. I actually hadn't been to a Cleveland Browns stadium since I think Favre's last season as a Packer. So it's Huntington Field out there. It's out on the water. It's kind of sucks kind of getting in and out of there because there's basically only one path in and out. But yeah, stadium was really cool. Yeah, see, all the stuff I was gonna say before, it played better if we would have won the game. So I got to kind of live edit what I say. But yeah, Cleveland Browns fans are passionate. For the team to be historically that bad, but have a fan base that loyal and and that rowdy. Yeah, they are loyal. Yeah, big. They did. The national anthem played. They've got like big fences and fireworks when they come out at first. It's I will say, like, football is the one sport that watching it on TV is the better fan experience overall.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're short on replays. You're not given as many stats. There's obviously not too much commentary. If they look at something, you got to kind of figure out what's going on. Okay, like there was a late fumble, and we didn't really know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
To where if we were watching the broadcast, they would have reported on it, and so so it was, as far as the overall experience. But I do love, number one, there's nothing like the moment when you first get to whatever live sporting event, when you first walk out and see the field for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a level of HD, the green grass or whatever you're looking at. I mean, that's my favorite part all the time. But I do love being able to see around the edges,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of watch just a random person on the sideline or something, to where the TV experience kind of focuses you in on the action, necessarily so. I understand why, but it's, even like baseball, I always said, like, I love watching the right fielder, kind of get ready when the pitch, you never see that on TV,
Right.
But yeah, it was a great experience. And like, I wasn't upset enough being a Packer fan watching them lose to not be able to enjoy a game-winning kick as time expires, and I kind of I looked around at the crowd, and you just see these arms up in the air, and it's unique. It's kind of like seeing almost like a national monument. You can watch it on TV, but until you see it in person, there's something extra about being there. So yeah, it was a great experience.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, couple more questions. Why does the sales rank drop if there are no sales? Sales rank could drop if there are no sales, if the catalog shrank, and that happens. Matter of fact, it happens all the time. There have been over 1 million ASINs dropped, like in the last month in across the entire Amazon catalog. And so if the number of ASINs is smaller, the sales rank will also be smaller, despite there being no sales. Chris by Chris. Hey, Chris, my name is Chris. Would you guys say how much you guys are doing in sales on Amazon this year? That is one question we don't answer. And the only reason is that we want our content to be judged on its own merits rather than anything else. Jimmy, I still don't know why it's labeled as catalog authorization. Well, one, they spell it wrong. Spell it like we're using the Queen's English, which is not okay. Need to spell it with freedom units. But secondly, My guess is called catalog authorization because you need authorization to edit the catalog. That would be it. Jalapali, it looks like I'm selling in the EU. Now Amazon wants me to provide missing COO. Not 100% sure what to do about that yet. There's not been a lot of guidance out there. I have all my other marketplaces turned off and I still have that. So I'm just kind of ignoring it for now. And we'll see what happens. JP, I sent in my first hazmat product. That was a battery toy. At first, it showed ready for sale and then reserved FC processing. Does that mean they are shipping those to another fulfillment center? Most likely, it could be that, or it's just stuck in limbo somewhere. You know, maybe it accidentally got kicked under a shelf or a robot ran over it, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. But yeah, it's probably one of those two things.
Do we know the amount of hazmat approved fulfillment centers that Amazon has?
It's only a handful. It's only
That's
like
what I
4 or 5.
Yeah, I would have guessed half a dozen.
So, but when it comes to a toy, so here's the thing about batteries and toys is even though those may come up as dangerous goods, sometimes those can be shipped into regular fulfillment centers.
Right.
So if it's one of those, like, sure, it could be in FC transfer, but typically it would say FC transfer rather than FC processing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they received it at one of these hazmat approved, and then they were like, you know what, this is actually a step down. This can actually go into, one of the regular, more optimized fulfillment centers.
Yeah. Jimmy, how many hours do you source each day? The answer is not enough. That is the answer. This is also a question that I don't know if the answer is necessarily helpful. We know sellers who do $25 million a year and they don't source every single day. Now, they do have a team that helps them, but when they source, they seem to source in streaks. And they may go where there's a day or two, or maybe even a full week where they're dropping $100,000 a day on product. And then they may go for the rest of the month and not spend anything. So my thought is, and I think I can't remember where we talked about this, but I almost think that rather than saying, hey, you know what, I need to source X number of hours per day, I think it might be even better to say, you know what, I'm going to look at X number of products per day. And if you mark down over a long period of time, let's say that, for 6 months, your goal is to look at 100 products per day. Eventually, you're going to come to a point where you're like, okay, well, my batting average is 150. I'm hitting 15 out of 100 on these, and that would be incredible. That would be killer. I would expect it to be lower, but then it's just a numbers game, and you can work backwards into, well, I really want to source, 15 products per day. Okay, well, then I need to look at 100 products. Or, you know what, I really want to grow my business, so I need to be able to source 20 products per day. Well, how many do I need to look at now? Well, now I need to look at 150 products. And so I think that metric might be a little bit more useful over a long enough period of time.
Yep. Yeah, there's plenty of examples. I don't know that we know anybody in particular, but you could have a situation where you show up one day and say you have a daily capital budget that that you want to spend. And there are sellers out there that can get that done in an hour or 2 hours. But if it was all like the Nike store and the inventory that you bought just pushed your exposure to your own marketplace above 50% all on Nike, well, that's not a good idea, because people got burned for not being diversified in the brands, because you can lose brands with zero notice whatsoever, you know? So you could actually make an argument to where I sourced 8 hours this day, covered 10 different sites, but you covered 20 different ASINs and you got 15 different brands, and you're now, just because you took more time, you're actually an inch deep and a mile wide, which is the safer, more diversified way to run your catalog, you know? So you could, so in that sense, taking longer to source is actually more, you know, it's going to lead to a healthier catalog overall than if you're able to do it quicker. So it kind of tells you, you know, the amount of time is arbitrary, really.
Yeah. Deal Hunter, I learned something this week. I'm selling an RA product that has a note on the package, lifetime guarantee. I learned this brand honors that only if you buy from an approved retailer, not Amazon. They will do that sometimes. That is how they will try to get around the first sale doctrine. Got a bad review for it. Lucky the customer used a bad word to describe me, so I got it removed. That's good. That is good. I'd probably end up dropping that brand. That's going to be rare. It's honestly, I'm surprised that they even asked the customer about the warranty if they used it. So
yeah, that's kind of the one. I know the law firms that send you letters that you know, you use it as kindling most of the time. It's kind of like the one thing that they can lean on that we don't really have a good answer for. You know, like you said, that's the one that circumvents the first sale doctrine. However, you know, if Vantage BP or Voorhees wants to send me a letter that says, by reselling wheat thins, you voided the warranty, you know, I'm not really worried about a warranty on wheat thins, you know? Yeah, but you'll get ridiculous stuff like that. You know, I don't think anybody really knows. It just seems like a bunch of form letters, and then you just bill your client and, you know, go have drinks at happy hour or something. Sometimes doesn't make a lot of sense.
Lewis, what habits or routines have been most important in helping you stay consistent over the years? So I'm gonna midwit this for you, man, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I got to have a 37-point checklist for my morning routine, and I don't start my work until I've got my matcha latte chai BS all ready to go. And I think that's all crap. Wake up, get caffeinated. If you like nicotine, you know, get some nicotine in your system, you know, throw in an upper decky, and then get to work. And don't wait on motivation or having chakras aligned or any of that garbage. Just get up and get to work. And then the motivation will come once you kind of get into the flow. You know, so like my morning routine, if you will, is get up. I try to get some sort of workout in, take the kids to school, and then that is my cue to start working. And that's it. Now, you know, we could talk about, do we want to use maybe a little reward system to try to, you know, give us some dopamine hits throughout the day and all of that stuff. And sure, there are probably some things that you could do that would make it easier to stay motivated, but I don't know that we need to. Just do the work.
Yeah. I thought for sure you're gonna say, like, make sure you eliminate seed oils, and, you know, like, you started talking about matcha. I was like, this sounds like somebody that would wear Kirkland branded Nike Dunks.
I am gonna wear. You know what? I'm gonna wear them, and they're gonna be a mainstay on the show now.
we're gonna like the opening scene, like the intro music's gonna end, and it's just gonna be you with your feet up on your desk with your Kirkland
Right.
dunks.
No.
Hey, but Lewis, you know what? That's a good question, and I really wish I had a better answer. The fact is, all of us, including any of the people that you look up to in the space, we're all winging it way more than we're willing to admit. And that's kind of what makes it great is the fact that you don't really need a routine. I kind of go in waves, and like just me personally, my best days are when I get inventory purchased and an order confirmation early in the day. At least one order from something, I get on the board, I get an entry on my spreadsheet. The earlier the better. Those tend to be the better days, right? Because no matter what, even if I don't get back to sourcing, if something pulls me away, whether it's a podcast day, and then there's 2 lives on Mondays. Mondays are a bit of a challenge to get some inventory bought. So if I can get something early, that's basically a win, because I kind of expected no inventory to be bought. And then the days that and then if Monday goes where it's like, okay, I only placed one order in the morning and I never got back to sourcing, Tuesday kind of becomes a more heavy sourcing day. Again, if I can get something on the board early, it's going to make me feel a lot better that when I can put out fires elsewhere without a guilty conscience going, you were supposed to be sourcing, like it's now you got to pick up the kids. Now you're into the afternoon, you're into the evening, and you don't have the inventory, but at least I've got that one order in, so that I can go take a couple hours. I could bust a couple things out, and pretty easily, even if I pushed it till later in the day, I could still probably get 100 units en route to the prep center. Mm-hmm. And I'm all right. I can, that's kicking the can down the road a little bit, but then I can tackle it Wednesday, so it's like, and I don't know if that's a version of like eat that frog kind of thing, where you get the one. I don't know if sourcing is like the biggest task, that I kind of take a bite out of as soon as possible, but that's kind of how it goes, but you're just going to have days where admin sucks up your day, mm-hmm. and just a fire starts somewhere, and that takes your time. And what I said was, when I apologize for not having a more definitive answer, we can have successful businesses where you get sidetracked and you're putting out fires all day. You can still be a successful entrepreneur. You can still be a successful retailer. That doesn't mean you're not good at what you do, mm-hmm. And it's the flexibility to do that, because if you have the flexibility to do that and still have a good business running at the same time, you also have the flexibility to go to your kids' basketball game and still have a successful business, so it's like the fact that we don't need a routine and it's tough to have a routine is also the same DNA as what makes this such a great business to be in from a freedom, take back your time perspective, if that makes sense.
Yep. All right. A couple more questions we'll have to do quick here. How do you balance reinvesting profits into the business versus paying yourself? So I do think that to get that dopamine hit, you should probably pay yourself something from day one. It doesn't have to be a lot, okay? But you ever go into a mom and pop restaurant and you see a dollar bill stapled up on the wall, and maybe it has a date written on it, and that was probably their first dollar that they took in, okay? Well, that's not just there, because like, oh, I made $1. Like nobody cares, but it is a symbol of the fact that they took a chance and they were able to turn this idea into actual money. And I think that you should do the same thing in your Amazon business. You need to have that proverbial dollar stapled to the wall with the date on it. And the only way to do that is by paying yourself something, even if it's just enough to take you out to lunch, once a month. Like, it's something. And then reinvest as much as you can back into the business. That's my take on it at the beginning.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even if you can only take payouts every 2 weeks, throw $50 into a business savings account. Just every 2 weeks, you'll have $1,300 at the end of the year. Go out and get a fancy dinner or something, and just. But yeah, you need some sort of proof to some degree, But you also need to delay actually paying yourself an income as long as possible as well, because whatever you pay yourself is taken away from the compounding effect of reinvesting profits. So it's, I say proof, a little bit of proof, and don't take the word little. Don't take that part too lightly.
Yeah. Gus, do you guys include cashback or discounted gift cards in the reduction of specific ASIN cost of goods sold, or more in QuickBooks in a global basis to reduce the cost of goods sold? Well, cashback should never be included in the reduction of your cost of goods sold, ever. Cashback is cream on the top. And now there are two schools of thought about cashback. Okay. One of them is if it was from business activities, then it should count as business income, whatever. If you take it personally, then it should be tax-free, considered a rebate. Okay. And I've heard of nobody getting in trouble for taking cashback personally. All right. So while I am not a financial advisor, nor do I play one on the internet, my suggestion would be to take cash back out of the business, and you only treat it as like a bonus. It's not included in your cost of goods sold anywhere. Discounted gift cards, for me, I reduce the specific ASIN cost of goods sold. So let's say that I buy 5 different ASINs in one order, and I get a 10% discount gift card. Well, I am reducing my cost of good on each one of those by 10%.
Yep. That's how I do it too. And speaking of which, the podcast interview we did with Taylor from Arbitrage Card, I'm real excited to get some feedback. I'm really excited for them to listen to that, because Arbitrage Card is doing some really cool stuff. That Chrome extension, I was playing with that the other day, and the ability to type in the exact amount of the gift card that you want, and then keep track of that and have it in the sidebar and never have to go off page. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I am very tempted to speed run releasing podcast episodes. Because I need to get caught up. But on the other hand, like, our last 4 episodes have all done over 1,000 views each on YouTube, which is a good indicator. I think we're hitting some good topics.
Yeah.
JP, would you recommend sending more often smaller shipments to FBA, or try to get bigger shipments but longer periods in between? In my case, it would be 1 or 2 boxes more often, or wait longer to get more. I think that frequency is going to be better. The reason I say that is, even if it costs a little bit more to send in fewer boxes, because you're not going to be able to do optimized shipping, which is not always cheaper. Okay. Sometimes paying the placement fee is less expensive. But the thing is you have another hidden cost in waiting longer, and that is a holding cost. Now, sure, it may not show up as an actual line item cost in your accounting, but that hidden cost can be paid in a reduction of your selling price due to increased competition. It could be some interest that you pay on a credit card statement because you've held on for a little bit longer. I mean, it could be the fact that you have to maybe wait an extra month to sell through because, again, more competition. So my opinion is the smaller shipments are probably going to be better.
Yep, definitely.
Lewis, yeah, you are absolutely right. I know some people who do 5 figures a month in cash back. Can easily take care of your entire family and bills. All right. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. This was a long show, good show, lots of great questions. We'll be back this Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. We'll do this all over again, bring you some news, answer your guys' questions, and help you guys any way we can. Until then, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope Q4 is like 9 days away. So get some rest now because no sleep in Q4. So, all right. Until Wednesday, everybody, have a great one.